Well, one company riding both soft and hard commodities is fertiliser and explosives business Incitec Pivot, which delivered half-yearly results today. A 25% rise in net profit to $132.4 million over the same period last year. I spoke to Chief Executives James Fazzino earlier today. James Fazzino, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
Now, a pretty good result given the weather impacts. I guess the biggest impact of all is that 3-month delay on the Moranbah ammonium nitrate plant. What might that set you back in production?
Yeah, in terms of the delay on Moranbah, it means that beneficial operation now will occur at the end of the second quarter 2012. So that'll set us back around about 1 quarter. The good news is what hasn't changed is the predicted final cost of the project, and that remains at $935 million, and also the fact that it'll transform our Asia-Pacific explosives business. And when it's online, it'll roughly double the earnings in that business.
Well, you're in the right space, really, mining and food. You've got a good season now agriculturally in Australia after rain. But what is your outlook on food prices generally?
We would expect global food prices to increase at maybe 1 or 2 times global inflation. And that's very positive for commodities and also the inputs into soft commodities, which of course are fertilisers.
Now, you say they'll increase. Of course, they've increased in years gone by and then gone back down again. You talk now about a step change in fertiliser prices, though.
Yeah, and that is absolutely because the simple fact is at the moment the world's not producing enough food. And if you look at ratios like stocks to use, you find quite a large reduction in world food stocks. And of course, the thematic that's driving all of that is the industrialisation of Asia, in particular China.
Let's go to the other half of your business, explosives. Now, Dyno Nobel Americas delivered a 32% EBIT increase. We interviewed Orica last week, and their Minova business in North America didn't seem to be doing very well at all due to competition. What's different about your business?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with our progress in North America. And the reason why we've been able to improve earnings by 32% is we have a very large focus on efficiency in the business. And the majority of that 32% increase was driven by something which we call Project Velocity, which has delivered $155 million in benefits so far, with a total of $204 million when the program's finished. The other thing we saw was some increase in volumes. In fact, our volumes were up 9% in North America and across our 3 market segments.
How has the Australian dollar affected things, though?
Well, we're quite fortunate in that we've been very proactive in our hedging of the Australian dollar. In fact, we're hedged really for the rest of this year at 92 cents. And when we look to the 2012 year, we've got hedging in place for 75% of our exposures at around about 99 cents. I think you need to look at the impact of the Australian dollar holistically on the business, because of course it's exactly the same thematic that is driving the Australian dollar, but it's also very good for our market exposures. For example, the booming commodity pricing impacts on the volume demand for our Australian explosives business. Similarly, that same boom's generating demand for food, which benefits our fertiliser business. So it's not a matter of the impact being all in one direction.
Now, back in Australia, you and a lot of folk are lining up to bid, as I understand it, for Burrup Fertilisers in Western Australia. There's Orica, Wesfarmers has been mentioned, a Norwegian and indeed a Chinese player. Are you expecting it to be a tough fight?
Well, in terms of the sale process, the process hasn't even started yet. We'll be very disciplined when we look at this asset. It fits with our business because we're one of Australia's largest nitrogen producers and Burrup is a nitrogen plant. However, it must, like any other investment, compete with the other investments that we've got in the business. Secondly, it must meet our strict financial hurdles. And finally, our base case is to return cash to shareholders, and so it must be a significant improvement over that base case. We'll be very diligent and only move forward if we can tick those boxes.
The ACCC is looking at the possibility of you actually winning that bid. Are you expecting any concerns from that quarter?
We wouldn't expect concerns, but really it's up to the ACCC to work through those issues, and we'll be working very closely to address any issues as and when they have them.
Are you surprised that you've got a Chinese competitor bidding for Burrup?
Well, you know, the Australian economy is a very open economy, and ultimately this is a world-scale ammonia plant. So I'm not surprised that there is global interest in the asset.
Looking to tomorrow, are there any specific budget issues of concern to you? I'm thinking of perhaps the skill shortage.
Yeah, I mean, the skills shortage is a real issue for anyone who operates in the resources industry. And of course, not only do we have direct operations in that we blast on our customers' sites, but we also have a very large fertiliser plant in a remote place in Australia where we also compete with labour. What I'd be looking for is action on skilled migration. And then I think the government can follow that up